Hi there. 2 o'clock for a new weekly live webinar masterclass, this time about packaging in our 7P channel. I just want to check if everything works fine, if you can hear me, if the microphone is working. Let me see. Yeah, I think the microphone, hope it's working. You can see me well. You can leave a comment if you want and let me know if everything works fine. Just a few seconds to see if everything works okay. If you want to let me know. And otherwise, if I don't hear anything, I will continue for this week's webinar about the subject, what we call packaging, or in other words, how can you grow your business without selling? Well, selling is such an awkward thing. We coaches don't like it too much. We like commerce, but we don't, or I don't like too much the sales conversation, or it's always a little awkward. There's always a little tension around it. We'll talk about a solution, how you can avoid the conversations. I see here someone saying good day, so that works fine, good. Great. Well, let's continue today for the weekly webinar, the 7P coaches group, the channel. Today, again, about packaging, about how to avoid the sales conversation. And we have a template made for this, a template that I worked out for myself, for my coaching business, with the 3 different packages in different price points. If you want to have the template, just let me know. Just make the remark in the comment with template, and then we know what we can send to you, because every week we can send something else. So they just say template, and then we'll make sure that it gets to you. This is a template where you really can get inspiration from how you can develop your own packages for your coaching business. That's for the material for this week. Right. So we're going to talk about the variable, what we call package. And we got 7 different variables. Let me first very briefly show you what we have on the iPad. We've introduced the model, the 7P model, consisting of different 7 variables. And the first one, where we talked about a couple of weeks ago, was position. Then we have one that we talk about today, that is what we call package. Then we have one which we talk about a little bit today as well, which is price. Then we have one that we call process. Then we have one that we call proof. We'll touch on that today as well. And then we have one we call pair. And then we've, last but not least, one we will call promote, or in other words, marketing and sales. These are the 7 P's, and primarily we'll talk about package today. What do we mean by package, and how can you implement that for your own coaching business? So that's the purpose for today. For those who don't know me, my name is Anne Johan Williamson. I help coaches grow, and then more on the commercial side, not so much on the coaching side, because there are so many good coaches already, really good qualified coaches, but yet as I experienced in the first 7, 8 years, I see that happening with a lot of my colleagues as well, that they are really good coaches but not often very good commercial business people, and we have to develop both to really become successful there. So my purpose here is to help you grow and make your business healthier. That's what I do with these videos every week. And the promise for today is, how can you grow your coaching business while you stop selling? That's an interesting combination. Yeah, you grow your business, but you stop selling. I don't think there are a lot of businesses where you can do so, but here you can. And I think you should, because selling is not a very strong, I would say, lever, strong motivation in coaching. I mean, if you sell, it's difficult because you sell to a great extent yourself, and which is always a little bit not credible. So how can you grow your business without selling, without avoiding the sales conversation? We all know the feeling of having a conversation after the first two sessions with a prospective client. Then you come at a point that you really have to come to business, and that you have to mention the price and the terms, and you really have to ask for the deal. And that's for most people very difficult, as it was for me, and it still is not really something that I like to do. But I have found a way to avoid that. So I'd rather have my client asking for the deal instead of that I ask for it. So we worked out a process that that in a lot of cases with a very high conversion ratio, it is that a client asks for the deal instead of that I have to offer the deal, and how partly we'll discuss today. So how can you grow your business without and avoiding the sales conversation? That's the promise for today. Because this sales itch is not something we have just as coaches. I think most people have difficulties selling something, but especially with coaches, it's more difficult and it's less credible, while we sell our presence, we sell our time ourselves. So in a way, we sell ourselves, and it's not an externally sourced product what we offer, it's an internally sourced product that we offer. And if you sell cars, you can say, okay, this I think is the best car for you. But it's always difficult to say, well, I think I'm the best coach for you. That's always a little hard to say. So there's always a little itch at the moment that we have to offer a deal to a client after one or two prospective sales conversations or conversations in the beginning. So the way to avoid this is what we're going to talk about today. There are three elements, three keys, I call it, insights that will help you develop this process. So selling without selling without the awkward sales conversation. And the three solutions are the following. The first one is, how can you increase your prices and have your clients be happy to pay for it? That's the first element that we want to talk about today. The other one is how to improve the client results, the measurable client results, without having to change your coaching methodology. So don't change anything, just add a little bit to it so you can measure the results and improve the results. That's the second one, which is relevant, and I'll tell you later why. The third one is how to make your offers with value-adding elements that is not just your time and that doesn't take your time. So that's the other one, and there I will show you the template that I have developed over the years for my business, my executive coaching business, and you can get the template if you like, how to make that for yourself. All right, so the first one is, how can you increase the prices and have your clients be happy to pay for it? All right, let me show you what I have here. Is the most coaches, they have one thing they offer. I think all coaches offer this, and that's what we call one-on-one coaching, right? We sell our time, and the way I did it and the way a lot of coaches do is that they have a coaching session once every 3-4 weeks of about 1.5 hour, maybe 2 hours. And you do this and you call that coaching. Most people, when they talk about coaching, then they relate to this way of coaching. Face-to-face, either via video or face-to-face physically, they offer their coaching service in that way. One-on-one or one to a few every couple of weeks, and that's the whole coaching program. Well, the problem if you do so is that you can only price it in a time-based way. That means the number of hours you coach times the price per hour is the way that I estimate 95% of all coaches calculate. And you only can do so when you do only this. If you work on an time-related way, so you spend so much time in relation to the client, then the only option is to do a P times Q, a price times quantity, way of pricing, and we call it time-based pricing. Most coaches have a different hourly tariff. Most coaches have different length of sessions, but there are not a lot of variations, and it's very, in a way, one-dimensional. I don't say it's very transparent. We think it's very transparent to the client, but we have to understand that the client does not make any, I would say, value in how much time you spend on him or her. The time the coaching client comes with a coaching question, and when you can help him solve that question, solve that challenge, or get to the goal, objective, that's enough. And it's rather better to do that in a little bit of time than to do it in a lot of time, because time is scarce, not only for you, but also for your client. But if you do it this way, a session every couple of weeks, for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, then the only way of pricing is what we call time-based pricing, right? But that what actually has value for a client is not so much how much time you spend on him or with him. Right? What has value? Has it value that you do your best? Has it value that you have a lot of story, theories, and coaching qualifications? Does that have value for your client? Does it have value that have credentials, that you're certified in one way or the other? Does that have value? Or does it have value how much time you spend on the client and with the client? Or does it have value if you solve their problem and fulfill their need? No. Of course, it's the last one. That's the only thing that has value for a client. All the other things are maybe credible, maybe good to get into business with a client, to get into a coaching relationship with your client, but the actual value where they come for is that you help them solve their coaching question, their challenge, or to get to their goals as you formulate them with them, right? So that's different. So I would propose to change your pricing formula, and we will discuss that in a separate webinar, but just want to introduce it very briefly here, is from a time-based way of pricing to a more what I call value-based pricing. So to see what really has value for a client. What really has value. It's not about money, it's not about the amount of time that you spend with him. You can do it in all kind of ways, adding value, right? You can add value in various ways. Maybe I can show you and draw it here. There are different ways than just one-on-one coaching. You can, of course, you can do what you already do. You can do the one-on-one way of coaching sessions, but you can also add master classes around certain topics. You can add online trainings for modules that you have made in advance. You can add templates. You can add book summaries. You can add all kind of measurements, pre, post measurements. You can add all kind of other services, retreats, etc. And if you add all these different things that will work for you, there's not one way, but I would certainly watch for the elements you can add to your one-on-one coaching that will make the whole offer. And that will differentiate yourself from the time-based pricing, because all these things add value, but they are not able or easy to calculate in terms of time, right? It is only possible when you do a master class or you do an online training. You cannot say it cost me so much time, so you have to, you do that once, and it's not calculable anymore in terms of time. So you have to find a price that is just reflecting the value of it and not just the matter of amount of time that you do. And I will show you later how I worked that out for my coaching business, maybe as an inspiration. But I would certainly advise you to get away just from the one-on-one coaching and add more elements that add value and that does not take your time, right? So that's the thing I would encourage you to do, which is very attractive. What I do, when you do so, you can do all kind of value-based ways of pricing. I know clients or colleagues who do performance-based pricing, or I know colleagues who I do a monthly based membership model. So coaches pay or clients pay a certain price per month, and depending on what kind of package they choose, I've got 3 packages, they pay a certain price, and I don't have to discuss that with them all the time. I just say, these are the 3 choices, this is the price per month, these are the different elements per different package that you choose, and that's it. I never have to negotiate, and I build it up in the first 2, I would say, more introductory sessions, and at the end they will ask for a package and they will choose a package themselves, and then prices are already set, nothing related to time anymore. So that's the first introduction about what we say about the prices. So get away from time-based pricing, get into more value-based pricing, and they are happy to pay for it if you add elements that have value. The second one is maybe also related to that, and that's what we call the results. If you do one-on-one coaching, especially now, more and more people are interested in ways or to find out what is the progress that we make. And there are various ways to measure if the progress is made. This has a lot of advantages. In the first place, for yourself, you get a little bit more accountable if you measure coaching effect. And there's a lot of research being done already how you can measure that. I've 3 different ways to do that, and we will talk about that in the masterclass about proof, how I do that. But I would certainly figure out for yourself what are good ways to measure coaching effect with your way of coaching. You don't have to change your methodology, you just have to add this way of measurement. You can do that with certain assessments, questionnaires. You can do that with a physical test like I do. You can do that with like the Marshall Goldsmith way, what we call stakeholder-centered coaching, the 360 measurements. You can do that on a daily assessment. What I do as well with my clients, it doesn't cost a lot of time. It's all available. It doesn't cost you a lot of time. It makes you more accountable, and it makes your client much more motivated. And as long as the client progress, I have the experience, then they tend to stay with you, because why would you stop a coaching program while you're still progressing, right? So that's the second interesting one, which moves you away just from the one-on-one coaching, add you another value-adding element, which also allows you to change the prices. So that's the second insight for today. The third insight is what we call how can you add value-adding elements that does not take your time. So I introduced that already to you. But I will show you a template that I worked out for myself. These are my 3 offers that I use. I use a little bit the sport terms. With my company called Top Mind, we always use the metaphor with sports, but I know a lot of people don't like sports or don't want to do it, but you can do it your way. But we have 3 different packages. One is the bronze, the other one is the silver, and the third one is the gold. I call the athlete, pro, and master, and then I have the specific name of the programs, the coaching programs underneath it. And you see it, the most, I would say, affordable one is the first one, the bronze one, which is the lowest in price. And then I ask there for a monthly fee, which is pretty easy to afford, and then have a very exclusive one, which we'll call the gold one, where we have a lot of different elements. In the first one, we have an app and we have a mastermind every quarter, and we have one-on-one monthly coaching sessions. So that's the bronze one. The second one, I have the app, the daily app, quarterly masterclass. We have a plenary retreat. We have group sessions. That's an open program. Then we have a physical test twice a year, and then we have progress review and the 360 pre-assessment. That's already much more extensive, which is of course a little bit of a higher price. And then we have the most exclusive one for the exclusive premium executives, where I allocate much more of my individual time, so the price there is much higher as well. So these are the three different, I would say, tastes, choices that I give my client, and I never have to negotiate anymore. So the moment that the sales conversation starts, I just present these three offers, and they say, okay, well, you know enough what I do, just choose what you want and what you can afford, and that's it. I hardly ever negotiate about price or the terms or different elements. This is what it is, makes it very transparent, and it makes it very easy to deliver. When it is the same bronze package, when it's the same silver package or the gold package, I always deliver it the same way in a very clear process, and I have my coaching software that does that to a great extent for me. So I don't have to think about all the elements and when to deliver it. It's just very automated. So these are my three packages, and I would highly encourage you for you to do the same. Right? This is interesting to do. I hope this was of value. If you want to have the template, then let me know. I will send you the template and will explain to you how you can develop that for yourself. I'm sure that there will be a little bit of value out of it for you. Few insights today is get away from hourly tariffs, make it easy to choose, add measurement methods to your coaching. You can do that very simple. You can all read from that. About that, and you can find a way that fits your coaching methodology, and then make a very simple, nice, well-designed template that you can present the moment the sales conversation starts. Say, this is it, take it. Take the one you want, depending on your budget or depending on your interest or depending on your coaching question and objective, and it's very easy. We'll never have to say about my hourly tariff is 150 euros, and then, oh wow, that's much more than my previous coach, or all these conversations. This is it. I do a monthly membership fee. Some people do a 6-month fee or a 1-year fee, or they do a performance-based price, but don't stick too much to the hourly tariffs. I would highly encourage you to. Thank you very much. If you want to have the template, just say template. We will do something very interesting new at the moment. And now it's the beginning of May. At the end of May, we'll start with that. And so what we call a what is it? No, it's so new that I still have to think about the name. But it's a mastermind for befriended coaches. So here we work together in a weekly sessions, maximum 2 hours per week, where we work together and implement what we learn. So these kind of videos hopefully are inspirational for you, and you get new ideas. But then the real value is, that was my phone. Forget to put it out. We'll do it now. But the real value is really in the implementation. So we will help in this mastermind, at the 7P mastermind, to implement that together and really get things going over the weeks, because otherwise we'll get stuck to only the inspirations and the content and the slides and the ideas and the theory. The value really is in the execution, and that's what we do in this mastermind. We'll set up a beta version, so if you want to be part of that, let me know. Just say mastermind in the comment below, and we'll send you the details. That will maybe for some of you be interesting. Thank you much for joining this webinar again this week, and hopefully you will learn something that you can take benefit from. Hope to see you next week. For now, thank you. Bye bye.